Welcome to Tea Time. And it's Wednesday. Sorry, guys. You know, those weird schedules that happen, especially with summer. Anyways, I'm Dr. Smith from Accomplished Health and Wellness here in Lawrence. And this is Heather Fiore from Free State Nutrition, also here in Lawrence. And today we are going to talk about intuitive eating. So like listening to our body cues, basically. And we have our tea. Here's our tea.
Yes, we do.
And it is by Bigelow, and it's green tea with pomegranate, which is actually one of my favorites. And it has like this red color. I don't know. I like it. What do you think?
Yeah, I enjoy it.
It's a lot better with honey and milk in it.
Oh, really? I'm just glad it's not hot.
No, right? Oh man, that would suck.
Yeah.
On to our topic. So because we're talking about intuitive eating, I just wanted to talk a little bit about obesity and BMI. So, BMI is where you take your height and your weight, and there's calculation, and you put it in, and then you can get your BMI. And what is normal, right? I don't know. So I do know, actually, and I'm going to tell you. So now you'll know. So we have different levels, and so in an adult, anyone that is 18 or less is actually considered underweight. So probably you didn't know that we had that category, but we do. And then 18 to 25 is considered normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then 25 to 30 is considered overweight, and anything over 30 is considered obese. And then obesity is actually broken up into three classes, because I'm talking with my hands. I always talk with my hands. So there is class 1, which is a BMI of 30 to 35. And then class 2 is going to be 35 to 40. And then class 3 is going to be anything over 40. And we used to have other names for them. They were like severe obesity, morbid obesity, and moderate obesity. I think it was moderate, severe, and then morbid.
Mm-hmm.
And you can guess morbid means that your obesity is going to cause you to die. That's probably bad. Sorry. That's like morbid. But it really means that you're going to have medical problems related to your obesity itself. So then, we don't talk about this a lot just because we don't like to classify kids. But it's a big issue in kids. And so we do actually have classifications for kids' weight. And so whenever you go to the doctor, you take your kids in and they're like, oh, they're in the 25th percentile or 50th percentile. And you're like, great, yay. And when they're little, you're all obsessed with what percentile they're in. Are they growing normally? Are they still on their percentile? Yes. And really, to be honest, we don't care what percentile they're on, as long as it's a normal percentile and as long as they stay on it. We don't like them to drop, which sometimes we see. But so normal is going to be, so anyone in the 5th percentile or less is actually considered underweight, but it also depends on a lot of factors in kids, just because if you're premature, that changes things. And so a lot of times you won't use the preemie percentile, and that ends up making them always less than 5% if you use a normal one. And usually kids that are preemies don't catch up until they're like 5. So we see that oftentimes. So anyways, normal for kids is going to be 5 to 85%. And then 85 to 95% is going to be overweight. And then anything greater than 95% is going to be obese. And so I did look up some numbers for obesity.
Okay.
Yeah. And so this data is, because, we're always like a little bit behind, right? So this is from 2014, a couple years ago. No, it's not. So actually for kids, 17% of kids were affected by obesity, which actually was like 12.7 million kids
It's a lot when you
That's
put
a
it like
lot,
that.
right?
Mhm.
You know, like 17%. I mean, that's almost still 20%. But when you put that number,
Yeah.
like, that's really a lot of
And
kids.
the 5%, like the 95th percentile, whatever. What that
Yeah.
means is that you would expect 5% of people to be in
Right.
that group.
Right. Yeah. They are larger than 95% of the kids the same age is what that means. So you would expect only that 5%, but it's 17.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad. And so they actually broke it down by age, which I thought was interesting. And so age 2 to 5, which is actually when kids are most active, though it was only like 8.9% of those kids.
Okay.
And then 6 to 11 was 17.5%. And then 12 to 19 was 20.5%.
Okay.
Which, you know, like in that, oftentimes what we'll see around age 11 and 12 when they start to enter puberty, 11, 12, and 13, is that because of their growth spurt and everything, it'll kind of even out. But it's
Mhm.
not. It's actually getting worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then in adults, oh man, the adult one scared me. Because I was like, oh, it's 25%, you know, 1 in 4. 36.5%. Yeah. Of adults are obese. So what does that mean, guys? Obesity is going to increase your risk of heart disease, all right? It also increases your risk of diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, stroke, all those bad things. And it also decreases the amount of money in your pocketbook because everything costs more, and you have more medical bills. Yeah. I know. I'm sorry. I'm the downer today. So how can we? No, I'm so sorry. So how can we like make that better, right? So that's what we're talking about, right? Listening to our cues and doing some intuitive eating. So how do we do that? I don't even know. I mean, listen to when you're full, obviously, but
Right.
we
So
lose that a lot.
that's exactly what I was going to say. Is that kids we're all born with the ability to
Yes.
respond to our hunger cues, right?
Yes.
If you ever tried to like overfeed a baby, like
They just
it's not impossible,
No.
but you have to work at it. Like
Yeah.
they really know
and
when
they vomit.
like they know when they are full.
Yeah.
And little kids know when they're full.
Yes.
But
Sometimes I'm like, man, if only I could not finish that ice cream like Emmeline.
Right. Couple
She
of
is
bites
full
and they're just
and
done.
she's done.
They don't care if they've taken a half a bite or they've taken 5 bites or there's 1 bite left. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. When they're done,
They're
that is
done.
the end.
Yeah.
And the problem comes when adults interfere and we encourage them, oh, 1 more
Finish our
bite.
plate.
You got to clear your
You
plate.
gotta clear your plate.
You can't have dessert until you've eaten all of whatever. Like all of those things are interfering with our kids' ability to know, to trust their bodies.
Right.
Like we're basically telling you, no, your body
You're-
doesn't know
no,
as well as I
do.
know, which is nonsense. We
Right.
don't know. You
Yeah.
know.
Right.
So that is the start of it. So
Yeah.
we should never encourage our kids to finish. We should encourage them to maybe stay at the table and be social if that's what we want.
Yeah.
And ask them, are you sure you had enough to eat? Like, oh, you forgot to eat this or you didn't have any of that. Do you? No? Okay. And there's no pressure involved, right?
Sure.
You just say, okay, you're done.
I remember
Fine.
this one thing that you said about, and it made sense to me after you said it, about kids and dessert, right? So when you're looking
Mhm.
forward to something, then you save room for dessert, right?
Right.
And so
yeah.
kids would too if they knew they were going to get dessert. But then you were saying if they say they want more, then you should offer them dinner again.
Mhm.
Like you can't have more dessert, but you
Right.
saved enough room
Yeah.
that you can have the rest of your dinner.
Yeah, right. You don't get double servings of dessert.
Right.
But you can
Which
go,
that's smart.
you can go back to your dinner. If you're still hungry, that's good.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't be forced to finish your dinner in order to earn your dessert, for sure. Right.
Right, because then they might be eating through their cue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the start of it. We've interfered and we've trained kids to not listen to their bodies and to listen to external cues. Worse than that, listening to adults. And then at some point adults are not
Lost their
there,
cue.
right? And now you're off into the world, and your mom isn't there to tell you when you've had enough, and you don't know. And
Right?
right?
You're
So-
in college and you're like,
exactly, and there's just unlimited food.
my mom said to finish my food.
Yeah.
And this is good.
Yeah, and it's good, and there's lots of it.
Mm-hmm.
So then what happens is people start dieting because they need direction. They don't know how to eat. And so they're like, oh, let me try this diet or that diet, or,
All those fad diets we talked
somebody's
about.
always talking about some diet that they're on. So that's what you do. Like, oh, well, let me do Weight Watchers. That seems sensible.
Yeah.
So you go on these diets, and they're all very different, as we've discussed,
Mm-hmm.
but they all have the same theme of not teaching you how to trust your body. In
Right.
fact, doing the opposite of that. Don't trust your body. Trust this diet to tell you this is how much you should eat.
Mhm.
This is what you shouldn't eat. These
You're
are
right.
the good foods, bad foods, right?
Mhm.
All of its rules and restriction on calories or something to get you to lose weight.
Right.
And so that is the first problem, that you now have no idea how to trust your body, and the only way you know how to eat is by following a bunch of rules.
That's not good.
It's terrible.
It's boring.
Right, and people get tired of it. So they hop around to different
They
diets
give up.
and they
Mhm.
try all the different
Yeah.
rules, and it gets messy. So
Well, and then you get confused because you got like the rule over here and the rule over there, and
they
which
blend
rule do I
together.
follow? And was that right? I don't know.
Right. Which
When you
rule
just
was
listen
which?
to your stomach tell your brain to tell your mouth to stop eating, right?
Yeah, it does happen. So intuitive eating has 10 principles.
Okay.
And I will kind of describe each one briefly. I could go on like a lot, and I will try not to do that because I just want to like briefly touch on each one so we understand.
Okay.
But the first one, the first principle, and the first thing I usually do when I'm working with a client on these on this topic is ditching the diet mentality. So getting rid of this idea that you need rules and you need restriction.
Okay.
So the problem with the restriction, as we've talked about before, is you tell your body you cannot have certain foods, right? Or
Right.
or you have
You
to eat a
eliminate
certain number
or-
of calories or whatever it is. It's a
Right.
restriction
Right.
one way or another. And the mentality that you then have is that you want whatever the thing is that you're
You
not allowed
can't
to have.
have, right?
Whether it's more
Like you start
this,
craving it.
you start
Oh, yeah.
craving, and you for some people they can follow the rules for a certain period of time, and then more often than not people are just like, I'm done, I gotta have
Yeah.
the thing, and then they eat like
The
all
thing.
of the thing,
Oh, gosh,
right?
Yeah. Once I was eating way too many sweets, and I was like, I've got to cut down on this because I usually like allow one sweet a day.
Mhm.
I think that's pretty reasonable. Like a little chocolate bar or whatever. I like dark chocolate. And so I was eating too much, and they were getting bigger. And so I was like, I got to cut this out. I just am going to cut it out
Mhm.
so that I can reprogram my brain to not want the sugar, because
Mhm.
really that's what I wanted.
Mhm.
I was dreaming about sugar sandwiches. I'm not joking. 2 pieces of bread with some sugar in it. Yes. The first 2 weeks were horrible. But then after that, I was like, okay, I can do it. And then, I went back to my little chocolate bar.
Right, it sort of worked, but like it's painful.
It wasn't painful. Nobody wants to dream sugar sandwiches, man. Those brownies that I was eating beforehand were,
Yeah. But that's a perfect example of restriction. Like
Yes.
when you restrict,
You crave
then you crave it. And you also get this impression that your body can't be trusted. Like if I
right,
let my body eat candy, I would just be eating sugar sandwiches all day long.
right,
Right? Like
right.
that's how it's gonna go if
Right.
I open the floodgates.
Yeah,
And so that is
I should have just cut it down
right.
and trusted myself to cut it down.
Mhm.
Yeah, next. I won't get myself into that position again.
But we live and learn.
Hopefully.
Um,
But next time if I do, I'll just cut it down.
Yes, that is the more humane way to do
Yeah.
this. Like, don't go crazy and telling yourself no. 'Cause
Yeah.
we don't like no.
Right, no, we don't.
So So that's one big thing, is like this, the whole thing of like ditching this idea that you have to count calories,
Okay.
that you have to have restriction in order to like be healthy or lose weight or, you know, be successful at, you know, eating like a regular person.
Yeah. I think that's very common actually through the diets anyway, is this restriction, elimination.
Yeah, they all do it
Yeah.
one way or another. Like
Yeah.
they call it other things, but
Yeah.
that's what it is. So the next thing to
This
do
one's interesting.
is honoring your hunger.
How do you do that?
And well, you really have to listen.
So you're like, I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have to,
So it wasn't like, I'm hungry, woo, I'm gonna throw a party.
right, don't throw a party. It's
Party in honor of my
not,
hunger.
we don't have to like celebrate. We just have to eat. Like you have to, you know, do what your body says.
Okay.
And the thing is, in the beginning, you know, people will say, oh, I'm hungry all the time. Like,
I don't think you are.
you're not hungry all the time. You just are under this like restrictive
You're bored.
mindset. Well, when you've got that restrictive thing,
Oh,
then you
yeah.
are
then you are
feeling
hungry
hungry.
because you're cutting your calories and all of that.
Right.
good
And your
stuff.
body, your brain thinks, you know, that it wants food all the time because it's like, I don't know when you're going to eat. I'm just going to send, you
A
know, it's
signal.
like Pavlov's dogs, right? It's
Right.
like the bell is just ringing, you
Right.
know, and they're just like, I don't know, I'm just going to go every time. I don't know what's going to
Yeah,
happen.
right.
So the body's just sending out hunger signals, not knowing when you're going to respond and when you're not.
Okay.
So you need to listen up. You need to listen to your actual stomach, not your brain, because your brain is all messed up. And yes, it's
Right.
always thinking about food because you've got all this, you're under all this, you know, this diet
stress.
mentality thing. Yeah. And you think about food when you're dieting, for sure.
Yeah.
So you need to
It's
listen
the only
to your
thing you think
stomach.
of.
Right. Well, sometimes it starts a career, right? People are like,
Right.
I think I'm going to be a chef.
Right.
So you really need to listen to your stomach. What's your stomach saying?
Okay.
Am I hungry right now? Is my stomach sending signals and to my brain, or is it my brain just saying like, oh,
I'm
you should
hungry.
eat right now? Oh, this sounds good. That sounds good. But like, what's your stomach actually saying? You know, really getting back in touch. And when your stomach sends
So do you
hunger
mean,
signals,
like-
you eat.
Like your stomach's growling.
It could be growling, or it could be it could be a number of things. Like not everyone has stomach growling, but
Yeah.
you know, it might just feel empty, or you
Okay.
might have like sort of a weakness, or
Oh, I gotcha.
you know, like
Yeah.
it could be any number of things that signal like it's time to eat. Like
Okay.
my body
My
is hungry
body
right
needs
now.
hungry. All right, food. My body doesn't need hungry. It needs food.
So then you have to eat when and the more consistently you respond to that signal, the more consistently your body will
Body will-
send the signal
Gotcha.
instead of just sending it willy-nilly. Like it'll
I
start to be more like, yes, I'm hungry. No, I'm not hungry. And you'll have times when you're like, I'm actually not hungry. This is amazing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's honoring your hunger. And I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because the next thing is respecting your fullness,
Right.
which is also hard to do when you've been on diets and you stop eating because, you know, you've eaten your allotted number of calories or whatever.
Right. And
Instead
you're
of-
still hungry.
And you walk away from the table hungry. That is the worst.
That is the worst.
This is why people are always cranky when they're dieting.
Right.
That is.
It is bad.
Yeah.
That's why
So-
we don't diet. We lifestyle change, right?
Yeah. And the other thing is when you're not, you know, dieting and you're just eating normal, what do? You eat until the food's gone.
Right.
Don't we though?
If it's really good,
Mhm.
sometimes we even go back for seconds.
I know.
And then you're like sitting there afterwards going, I'm going to throw up.
Right. Like I overdid it.
Or you get that
Mhm.
indigestion
Mhm.
because you know you ate too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's not that you ate something that makes you have it. It's just there's
it's
too
just
much
too
in
much
there.
food in there.
Yeah. And then you can't do anything
No.
but sit on the couch because
and wait.
and like
And
Oh.
yeah. Maybe open
you
your
know,
belt.
yeah, you gotta open
Put
your
dress
button.
pants on.
Like Al Bundy, you know,
Exactly.
Al Bundy in it. Yeah.
Yes.
You don't
So
want that.
that, you know, both of those situations are a result of, you know, the diet mentality. So
Yeah.
what we need to do is really check in throughout the process of eating. Like, am I full yet? Like, have I had enough to eat yet? No? Okay, I'm going to keep going. But I'm going to eat at a pace where I can actually get the message at the right time, right? Because if you scarf your food down in 10
Then
minutes,
you can't.
it's not time yet.
Your brain hasn't caught up with your stomach.
Right. You need like 20 minutes to
So-
get the message.
Have you ever heard of that? Like if you finish your plate and then you want more, you should wait 10 minutes and then think, like, assess yourself and say, am I really hungry, or was it just that it was so good? Is that,
I mean,
is
I
that
don't know
good?
if you like definitely need 10 minutes, but you do need to like stop and think, right?
Okay.
And like I said, if you scarf down in 10 minutes, then you should definitely wait another 10
10
minutes.
minutes.
If you ate at a reasonable pace, then by the end, you should
Does
have.
anyone eat at a reasonable
People
pace?
do.
Really?
Yes.
That's
And
good.
particularly there are certain kids, like some kids really scarf like adults do.
Yeah.
And others, like one of my kids is a slow eater. And actually one of our old neighbors, they have one slow eater and everybody else eats at a scarf. And they have a rule, like, you can't be excused from the table until everyone's done,
Right.
except for her. Like, if she's still eating, like, just leave,
Just
because
keep going.
she's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
So there are people that eat really slowly. And while it can be frustrating for the rest of the family, like, it's really a good quality to have, to eat slowly. Because then, yes, you get to the end of your meal, or you're eating along and you're stopping in between, and then you can say, like, am I finished? Like, maybe there's still food on my plate, but maybe I'm done.
Right.
And that is like really empowering.
And that's actually why it's good to have dinner as a family,
Mm-hmm.
because you can incorporate the discussion, like you don't have to just sit there and go, you can like talk. Yeah, it slows you down and allows you to assess what's going on in your person and your family, right?
Right. But there's also distracted eating where,
that's
like say
eating in front of the TV.
If you're eating in front of the TV, now your whole brain is totally occupied with something else, and you're just going through the motions of eating, and you are going to eat until the food's gone.
That's what happens at the movie theater with popcorn.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We were just talking about Brian Wansink, right?
Yeah.
This food psychologist guy at Cornell, and he did a really cool study where he like had a movie theater type of situation with stale, like 15-day-old popcorn in buckets. I mean, it's not like moldy or anything, but it's just stale. It's just not good.
It, like in your normal situation, you wouldn't eat it.
And you wouldn't, but you're sitting at a movie theater and it's in these big containers and it's right nearby, and people ate it and they'd be like, oh, that's not good. But then they keep eating it.
That's not good.
No. And
that is not listening to your body.
No.
Because your tongue was still in your brain. No.
Yeah, I don't want that. But yet we're just like, it's so, ingrained. We just eat what's in front of us. Like that is mindless eating to the T.
Yeah.
So you want to be sort of mindful while you're eating so that you can stop at the right time. Stop when you're comfortably full. That is so hard. Mm-hmm. Like for so many reasons. For everyone, like really hard, but such an important thing to master, so you constantly need to revisit that one. That one is like we're never done talking about that.
No, even last night I was eating like taco salad. I love Mexican food. And so I was doing the dishes and I was like, man, I should have stopped 5 bites before I stopped.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So it's like something you always have.
I mean, I do it too. And I'm always so like annoyed. Like, really?
Yeah. That's how I was. Mm-hmm. Oh man, why did I do that?
Why did I just do that?
Now I'm going to pay for it.
And sometimes like you're doing it even while you're doing it. Like, I know I should stop, but
cheesecake. That happens to me with cheesecake. Man, cheesecake calls my name. Mm-hmm. And I could be full. And that cheesecake sits in front of me and I cannot not bite into it.
Mm-hmm. It's bad. Yeah. But the thing that's important is that this is all normal eating. Like all these things are part of normal eating. It happens to everyone. It's a matter of like how often. Like if that's your usual thing that happens to you, that's not
good.
But it happens here and there.
That's
totally normal and expected because we're humans.
Right.
And
we like pleasurable things like cheesecake.
We do. So, one of the other big things here, kind of relating to the ditch the diet mentality, is you've got to challenge the food police, and those are the people with the rules, right?
That's like the diet people?
Yeah, those are the diet people, and the good food and the bad food, and making peace with food. So
food is okay.
Allowing yourself to eat whatever you feel like eating. It doesn't mean
Unless it's
anything.
McDonald's
No.
every day.
I mean, not every day, of course,
Okay.
but you're not going to want it every day because that would make you feel gross.
It would.
But you might crave it. I know, but if you're doing all this other stuff, you're not going to want it every day.
Okay, good.
No, because you've got to be in touch with your body. If you're at all in touch with how your body,
Right, because then you'll feel the sludge afterwards.
then your body's going to be like,
I
you know
gotcha.
what, never mind. That might sound good up here, but nowhere else. So no,
Yeah,
it's a
okay.
no. So when you've got all this stuff, you're internalizing all these messages, you will not crave McDonald's every day. But if you do crave it, then you don't tell yourself like, ooh, no, you can't have that. That's bad. It's like, okay, just go get it. Go have it.
And then be done.
And it's no big deal.
And then
you
your
know?
body won't want it so much.
Right. And then you're not going to be like obsessing about it and craving it. And then like getting the, 10-piece nugget and the whatever. I don't even know what
the large fry.
whatever the largest stuff
I
is.
remember when I was growing up, I would say something like at dinner, we would always eat together. And at dinner, I remember saying something. I can't remember what I said to my brother, but I remember him looking at me and go, "What are you, the food police?"
Uh-huh. Totally.
Yeah, I was.
You were-
I was his food police.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. So those people that are in your head that are telling you like things are bad
Stop.
and
that.
yeah, like all this like judgment on
Mhm.
you for your food choices, they're not helpful.
No.
Okay, they're mean, and
They're
we
like
don't
the little
them.
devil guy on your shoulder.
Yeah. Right. Or pretending to be the little
Yeah.
angel. Like no.
Oh yeah, the one that pops up.
Yeah. They're not helpful.
They're
to you.
lying.
Yeah. And they like making yourself feel bad because of foods you feel like eating or for foods you've already eaten doesn't do anything to change your behaviors in the future.
Right.
If anything,
It just
it makes
makes you
you
feel
feel bad.
bad.
It makes you feel defeated.
Yeah.
And like, I am terrible.
And if I'm always going to be defeated, then I'm just not going to do it.
right, then obviously I'm not. I might as well give up now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. You
Yeah.
said you're terrible. You were saying that.
Oh.
You're terrible.
Right. I'm bad at this, and
Oh, yeah.
I might as well just not even try because I can't do this. I don't have the willpower.
Yeah.
It's really. the
But
thing.
everyone does.
Right.
If they're listening to
Right.
themselves and not
Or
the guy on your shoulder.
The thing about it is, it's not about willpower. Like,
Mm-mm.
it shouldn't require willpower.
Right.
If you're
It's just-
really trusting yourself to give you the right messages.
Right.
And your body will. Like, your body will want the right things in the right, amounts. And it will want stuff that's not good for you sometimes. But you trust your body and you listen and you honor what your body's telling you. It will not lead you astray.
Right.
And it will not require you
And
to overpower with your messages from up here.
right.
That's willpower up here. Like, don't rely on this,
Right.
because
Yeah.
willpower like wears out at the end of the day. That's
Yeah.
why.
And
People end up eating-
sometimes like especially with certain foods and like certain times of the month, especially in women, your body will tell you to eat certain foods because
That's
you're
right.
lacking the nutrients at
Mhm.
that time of the month or whatever.
yeah,
And so you should listen to those
that's
and
right.
not ignore it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Because we know that real cravings will not go away. They will not be appeased by, some like sugar-free cookie or something.
Right.
Like, that's not going to do it. Go get the thing that you really want, enjoy it,
Yes.
and then move on. Don't
And
judge
be
yourself.
okay.
Just move right on.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
other piece of this whole challenging the food police, making peace with food, like really being okay with whatever you're feeling like eating.
Yeah.
And for my clients, there's this hurdle to get over because you open the floodgates, like, okay, I can eat anything I want. What do I want? And in the beginning, like, you want all sorts of stuff that you're
Yeah.
like, ooh, I can eat
Ooh.
this and that. Really? I can eat Doritos. And so you eat these things, like, so in the beginning, like, there's a little extra eating going
Yeah.
on, but it normalizes because you
Right.
take the power away from those foods
The
eventually.
food. Yeah.
Like, Doritos are not special. You can have Doritos if
No.
you want them.
And you know what? I have found that, especially I used to really like Doritos. We'll just talk about Doritos.
Yeah.
And now I'm just kind of like, I don't really need the Doritos.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of bad stuff in the Doritos. So I'll take the corn chips. not the corn chips, but like the tortilla chips.
Yes, corn chips.
Instead of the
These with all the
dyes
extra stuff on them. Yeah.
Yeah, the red dye and the yellow dye and the green dye, because that's what the Cool Ranch Doritos have on them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like not a big deal for me. The Doritos and the tortilla chips can be sitting next to themselves on the table if somebody else wants them, and I don't really need them. They don't even call to me anymore.
There you go. They
See?
lost their power.
They did.
Take that, Doritos.
Yeah.
So the next thing here is discovering the satisfaction factor. So you're eating all this stuff that you're now like allowed to eat, right? But you need to make sure it tastes good.
Yeah.
Right? If you're gonna
and that
eat
it makes
something,
you feel good.
Mm-hmm,
Because
like,
not all food does.
Right. But eat it and taste it and enjoy it.
Right.
Because if you're not doing that, then don't
Why
bother.
are you eating it?
Yeah.
Why are you putting it in your mouth?
Right. And that's why most of the time you're going to stop when you get comfortably full. Because beyond that point, I mean, let's be honest, it really doesn't taste nearly as good when you're already full.
Right.
You know?
It doesn't. It really
It
doesn't.
And we learn that and we relearn it because that's how we.
And it makes your stomach achy.
Yeah. So you eat the food and you enjoy it. You make sure your food is delicious. You don't eat stuff that you don't want to eat. Don't make yourself eat stuff. Okay? And
But you should try new things.
of course, you should try things, but you shouldn't make yourself eat stuff.
Right.
Yes, beyond a bite.
Yeah, like if it's gross.
Yeah.
Don't keep eating it.
No.
There's no point.
Right.
Yeah, we do that at our table. So if something's gross, especially my youngest ones are really good about going, this is gross. But oftentimes they'll do that before they even try it. So I don't even know. So I really trust my oldest one. And so her and I will eat something and we'll look at each other and be like, and she'll be like, this is okay, huh? I'm like, this is disgusting. You don't have to eat it. I'm sorry. Don't eat it. She's like, oh, thank God. So yeah, don't keep eating it if it's gross.
Yes, don't eat things that
No
aren't
point.
good. So you want your food to be delicious and you want to enjoy it. So you need to be present, and that's part of this whole process, right?
Yeah.
You're present because you're tasting and you're enjoying, and you're also touching base like, how full am I? Am I satisfied? Have I had enough? And when the food stops tasting as good, that's when it's time to stop.
That's when you stop.
And
That's
it's
easy.
like, put it away and enjoy it another day.
And you don't have to clean your plate if that's before that point, right?
You absolutely should not clean your plate unless that's really what you want to do.
Just don't eat through your cue.
It's just as simple as that. It is so hard.
It is.
So, and that kind of takes us to our next point, which is honoring your feelings without food, right? And we all do that. And again, it's part of normal eating to once in a while eat out of, some emotional reason. Maybe it's boredom, maybe it's anger, maybe it's sadness, maybe it's loneliness,
maybe it's your menstrual cycle.
Right. And that happens here and there. But that should not be your go-to way to handle your feelings, right? If you have certain feelings and you don't have
like when I get angry or whatever, I'll exercise because I used to eat. And it's not, you know what I found?
You're still left with your feelings afterwards, aren't you?
Yes, and also I didn't feel any better afterwards. And then I felt bad about myself because I usually ate something that wasn't healthy.
Right.
And at least when I exercise, I can in my brain go through what's really bothering me and really pound it out. And then afterwards, I actually feel better. Well, one, because I've got endorphins going, but two, because I actually was able to process the stuff. Yeah. Whereas when you're just eating,
you're numbing.
You are. It's a Band-Aid and you're not processing. You're just eating.
Yeah.
So it's not at all beneficial.
Right. Not the way to go. So it happens once in a while, but that should not be the way you deal with things. I'll tell you what's a little side note here. Good exercise, just for a little plug, is kickboxing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Good stress reliever.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
So, so you really want to have a plan for managing stress and managing emotions. And the plan should not involve food.
Okay.
Food is not a good way to
No.
manage those things.
No.
Respecting your body.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we all have a mean voice in our heads
Mm.
when we look in the mirror,
Yes.
and it goes
That
right
negative
to the thing you hate the most,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Takes you right there
Yeah.
and reminds you, like, this thing, I don't like this. I don't like
Yeah.
this part. That's the worst.
Yeah. Or like if you don't do something to like the exact, level that you wanted to do, or
Mhm.
you didn't do as well as you thought you were going to do, then you're
Mhm.
like, you suck.
Right. We are so hard on ourselves.
We really are. We are our worst critic.
Yes. Have you
You know?
ever like during like bathing suit shopping season?
Oh.
Like if you're in the changing room, I mean, people are brutal. Right?
Oh,
They're
yeah.
in there just like, oh, it is the worst. I mean, that's a whole other thing about the lighting in there.
Oh gosh.
It does not
I
flatter.
don't even,
my
swimsuits
life.
and
It's terrible. But like, I mean, just take that and, scale it down, and
Right.
that's our normal. Like, we are just
Oh, yeah,
always
that's
like
true.
that. We would never talk to a friend like that.
no.
No. Like, not in a million years, the way we talk to ourselves. In our
Do you know,
heads.
once I was talking to myself that way, actually, I think I was like mumbling or something, and I was in the bathroom mumbling to myself, and my daughter was actually on the other side, and she comes in and she goes, that wasn't very nice, and that is not at all how I think of you, and so you shouldn't either.
That is so sweet. I
Yeah,
love
it really
that.
was, and I was like, thank you. That's,
And
I
you're
needed to
right.
hear that,
Uh-huh.
And
Yes.
she'll a lot of times when I'm being hard on myself, she'll say, I think you're doing a good job, Mom. So, which I think
That
is cool.
the sweetest.
Yeah.
Yes. So we need more of that. So the next time you
It's like that girl. Have you seen that one little girl that it's like on the YouTube and Facebook? She's like,
Mhm.
you are the best. I love your curly hair, and I love your clothes, and I love your mom. And you're like, have you seen her? And I was like, you rock.
Yes.
Like that's what we all need.
That's what we need.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. When you hear mean voice, you need to call it out. You need to be aware of it. And you need a mantra
Yeah.
to drown it out with.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe something like this little girl. Maybe not like, you just have to be that crazy. But you need at least something.
Yeah.
And it could just be like, shut up, mean voice.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants you
No,
here.
you're not welcome.
You are not welcome here. And you're
Today
wrong.
I have a lovely shade of blue and green on, and so that's all I need to know.
That's right.
Right?
So
Like
you
something
pick
nice.
something else, and it's
Yeah.
something physical about your body. Because if you're trying to counteract a mean voice about your body, pick something that you like,
About
and
it.
something that you don't mind at least.
Yeah.
Start there. Okay, it
Yeah.
might be hard to find something you really like,
Yeah.
depending on where you're at. But find
Yeah.
something and be like,
Yeah.
you know what though? I have nice earlobes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or
mean
like
voice.
my toenails are pretty
Mhm.
today.
I've got
Yeah.
nice nail beds.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever,
Yeah.
right? Just something.
We all
anywhere.
have that one thing.
Yes, we do
Yeah.
have a thing. So we need to really overpower that mean voice. We need to
That's
overcome all of our issues. We don't have to embrace every aspect of our bodies, okay?
Right.
And it's okay to even want to change things. Like, I'm not saying let go of stuff that you're not happy about, but I'm saying don't let it define you
And don't let it defeat you.
and don't let it defeat you. Like,
Yeah.
don't let it bring you down,
Mhm.
because no matter, like, you could lose 50 pounds and that thing that you don't like, it could still be there.
Right?
Like, how would that be? That'd be terrible,
I
right?
know.
So you really want to be careful about, not accepting yourself the way you are now. Like, you
Right.
really need to work on that,
Mhm.
because being defeatist doesn't help you,
No.
in the long term, take care
It
of
doesn't.
yourself.
And it won't get you onto the right track
It
of
won't.
listening to your body
Yeah.
cues. So
No, it does the opposite of that. So another thing here, exercise,
Oh.
feel the difference. And what
Yes.
that means is that you exercise because you like it,
yeah,
because it feels good,
releases endorphins.
because it serves a
and-
purpose. It may not be like fun for everyone,
Right.
but it serves a purpose for you.
Mhm.
So you don't like make yourself run if you hate running. I hate running. So
I like to run.
I don't run. That's not my thing.
But I like to bike
Okay.
too.
Yeah. I mean, the things that you don't mind doing, or that you enjoy, or they feel purposeful to you,
Yes.
you do them, but you
Yes.
don't make yourself do stuff that feels like work.
Right.
If it feels like work, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
You're not going to stick with it. You need to find something different.
And, the recommendation is for at least 30 to 60 minutes of cardiovascular exercise on most days of the week. But what they've found is that you don't have to do that 30 to 60, because sometimes that's like daunting,
Mm-hmm.
You're like,
I don't have an hour.
where am I going to find that, So you can actually break it up into like 10-minute increments
Mm-hmm.
throughout your day.
Right.
And so, when your coworker is taking a smoke break, you can take an exercise break and do a walk
for 10 minutes,
or whatever. Yeah. So, that is a good way to get your exercise. And it's going to release endorphins,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to make you feel better. And when you feel better, guess what? You're going to want to do some more exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, sometimes that that after exercise kind of burn that you get,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that feels good. It's like one of those hurt so good things, It's like I did something.
That's right. And it also wakes you up, right? So if you,
Right.
3 o'clock in the afternoon, you went for a 10-minute walk, your brain is going to work a lot better
Yes.
than the person who sat at their desk the whole time and they're
Yeah.
like falling asleep.
Right. They hit the brick wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is the thing about exercise that I will just say, that you need to find something somewhat enjoyable, not painful.
Yeah.
And then there's honoring your health. And that is just, doing all of these things plus whatever else your body needs to be cared for.
Right. Right.
So if it's, managing your diabetes on top of all these things, then do that if you need to.
And be happy that you're doing healthy things for yourself.
Yeah.
I have this thing. I heard it from somebody else, but then I tell myself this every day. So I say, you just have to do one healthy thing for yourself every single day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when I don't want to exercise, I remind myself, it's just one healthy thing. Come on. And then once I get going, then I'm good. And it's not because I don't like to exercise, because I like to exercise. It's more of a, my kids are doing this, or I need to do this, or I've got like this 1,000
prioritize
list.
it, yeah.
Yeah. And so sometimes you just can't, you're like, do I really have the time?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you do. You have the time.
Yeah.
And you need to make the time.
You need to take care of your body.
Sometimes we have to make the time, yeah. So, anyways. You said that at one time there's like a workbook, right?
Right.
So we should show this.
So here's the thing about intuitive eating, is it is something that I do in my practice, and it's really a process that I take my clients through, and it takes a long time. It's different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the people just come to me and we work on it together. Other people like to read the book on intuitive eating, and other people might use the workbook. But an alternative is to do the workbook on your own, which I think is what it was originally designed for.
Sure.
I've had people have good results, doing both, like talking with me in during visits, and then doing some of the other stuff on their own.
Well, sometimes it's helpful to have that guidance, or this is what I tell people is that, sometimes we need someone to hold us accountable,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the beginning. So working with you and doing the book,
right?
You have you to help
right.
hold you accountable.
Because otherwise you might really drag the process out over like a really long time. And really, there's no normal pace that you need to take it at. But you're going to make more progress if you're working with somebody than if you're just like, oh, let me pick up this book, and then you fall asleep after 2 pages. So this is what it is. It's the intuitive eating book, and these two lovely ladies here, they originally wrote the intuitive eating book, the original one back in the early 90s, I believe. So this concept has been around for quite a while, and I just think it's the best thing ever. Cool. And yeah.
I like it. It's like reintroducing your own cues to yourself, which is good because we lose them.
And it makes so much sense, and it sounds so simple, but that doesn't mean easy. Not. It is simple, but it's not easy. That's the difference.
Yeah. So that was kind of a big topic. Sorry, guys, that we went over our normal time.
We did.
What are we going to talk about next time?
So we could continue the theme, and we could do the recommended diets thing, or
I say we do that because we're kind of on this diet kick thing,
mm-hmm.
and there's a bunch of healthy recommended diets that are out there, and what's right, I don't know. So we can talk about that actually. Yes. And maybe what we'll do is, should we, because they're kind of big topics, maybe what we should do is just break each one down and like do one a time.
Possibly.
So we'll see what we think. Next time we will probably be doing, well, you're super good at the vegetarian diet because you're a vegetarian, right? So yeah. Why don't we talk, you could probably talk about that for days. So we'll talk about vegetarian diet next time. And then on our list, we also have DASH diet and the Mediterranean diet, because those ones are pretty high on the healthy list. Yeah. So we'll talk about those also in the future. But next time, vegetarian. Vegetarian, vegan? Or should we do vegan separately?
No, I think we can do both.
Okay, vegetarian, vegan next time, guys. So we will see you in a week. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your week. And like always, if you have questions or whatever, just shoot us a message. And if you have a topic you want us to add to our long list here, then just shoot us a message on that too, and we'll add it to the list. So hopefully we will see you guys next week, and have a good day. Bye.